for joining us while we paint butterflies this week. This is our basic setup. We're going to be using watercolor paper, 3 sizes of brushes, a towel, paint, and 2 separate cups for rinsing out our warm and cool colors. For this technique, we're going to start by painting the background first using a wet on wet technique. So we're going to wet the paper and then we'll go in and start dropping some warm watercolors to create the background for our design. This is a little different technique than our last video where we started with sketching on just the plain paper. This time I want to build up the background first and then we'll do our sketching, and then you'll be able to see the difference between the two techniques. So I started with just some warm colors towards the middle because that'll be the color for our butterfly wings, and then I'm going to go around the outer edges with some blues and greens. I'm just splattering in some colors here. I think it's a nice way to disperse the different colors around the paper, and they just kind of end up where they land, and there's nothing too controlled about it, which is the fun thing about watercolor. Now I want to let the paper dry before I start sketching. And I left my video running during this part so you can see how the paper lays back out flat as it dries. We want our paper to be totally dry before we start sketching with chalk on top. Okay, so we're pretty dry now. And to do a basic butterfly shape, we start with the head, and then we draw another oval for the thorax, and then another oval for the abdomen. And then I make a dot in the top right and the top left that's about the same length as the butterfly's body. And then I want to make a horizontal line at the bottom of the thorax that's also the length of the butterfly's body. And this is just giving us some guidelines for the shape of the wings. As you can see, I had to redraw the right wing, which is fine that's why I like to use chalk, because it washes away as soon as you start painting, but it won't damage or make any scratches like a pencil would on your watercolor paper. Now we want to outline the wings using kind of a scalloped edge, and then we're going to make some markings with some teardrop shapes on the upper and lower wings, and then we'll connect the scalloped edge with lines to the teardrop shapes. Now that we have our overall shape for the butterfly, we're going to start dropping in some colors. So I'm going around the outer edge and the veins with a darker paint so that these lines will stand out. I'm going to start adding some brighter colors to the center of the butterfly. I try to get the shape of the butterfly pretty symmetrical, but the colors themselves are a little more sporadic. The last thing I want to do for finishing touches is go over my lines with, I added a little bit of black to the bluish green paint. Anything that you would trace with a pen at the end, you can go back over with just your watercolor paint. So this is the difference between the two butterflies that I worked on this week. Let us know if you try these at home. Thanks.